Hello everyone, I guess you hopefully are having a wonderful day, and today we are here with another PWCC weekly review where I go through the top 100 soccer items auctioned off this week in their weekly auction. As always, hopefully you enjoy. If you do, make sure to leave a like, I'd appreciate it greatly. With that said, let's go ahead and get on into it. So get on into it, we have brought up PWCC, we're at the bottom, $200 this week to get into the auction in the top 100. A little bit higher than we've been seeing lately, which isn't, anything too crazy. And yeah, really feel like I'm hitting my stride. Almost a year of doing these, so really excited. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed it. I do appreciate you watching, of course. But let's hop into it. So we start with a 2017 Topps Chrome TAA Auto. This is a rookie for him, so pretty coveted. SGC 1010 goes for 186. This was relatively near comps, a little bit lower than PSA 10s, but that's kind of a given. SGC 7 Mbappe. We have this PSA 9 Cristiano Ronaldo SP Authentic. This is believed to be 2003, 2004, rather than just 2004, but that's the way PSA labels it. Same thing with this one. I thought this Messi was pretty high. I mean, for a base Messi, this is a nobility unnumbered. They do have different, numbered variations. This is a paper card, so nothing too crazy. $200 for a base Messi, though, and a 10 is pretty impressive. We have this Jude Bellingham Purple Refractor rookie and an SGC 10 going for 204. We'll see definitely a good bit more of those as we continue to move on up. This Christian Pulisic Select Field Level out of 99 white and a PSA 10 goes for 204. To me, that felt kind of high. This wasn't honestly even on my radar. I remember seeing a year earlier camo out of 20. I think it was a PSA 9, but that went for like maybe $400 a few months ago. So comparatively to that, this is, 5 times the production a year later. Feels pretty high. Obviously, PSA 10 is going to help that. 2004 Cristiano Ronaldo SP Authentic, as we talked about. We have an Eden Hazard PSA 10 going for 216. Right above that, we have a Lewandowski Beam Team. I really do like the Beam Teams. I like the look of them. I don't know if they really have any significance long-term, since this is just a basketball card that was, transposed into soccer. But I do like the look of it, not going to lie. There are some cool golds and blacks that I've seen of some notable players that I wouldn't mind owning. Eusebio PSA 3, this is just a really bad cut job. Also bad on PSA. I think that bottom of the sticker seems to be sort of, intruding in on the plastic where it sort of scrunches. I don't know if that's going to damage it at all. But a PSA 3 that did sell a little bit lower. I looked up comps, but it's so hard to tell because some have this back, some have the yellow front. It's sort of a mess. This is a little bit lower than you'd expect, but nothing too crazy. There have been PWCC Eye Appeal ones that have been going for a little over 300, so that's relatively fair. In this row, we have the first one I looked up today, which was this 1997 Andrea Pirlo PSA 9. This one did 234, last one did 360. PSA 6 before that did 45. I thought this was very crazy, which was a PSA 9 on eBay that did 87 apparently. Unsure if that's a completed sale or not. I'm not, all too certain, but I would presume that it is. Stuff like this, I feel, tends to really go under the radar on something like eBay, where you have to have, this 1997 Merlin's Andrea Pirlo put in your save searches and looking at it every week, as opposed to if you just throw it on PWCC. A lot of people are going to see it that sort of want it, but might not necessarily have it in their saved searches. Robert Lewandowski Auto Gold goes for $240. We have this Mo Salah out of 40 pink. I actually kind of do like this pink laser, but 2018 sort of a mess in terms of the parallels. I don't think there's anything anyone's all too settled in on other than the golds, which is again why I sort of question 2022 and how many parallels that prism has, and the choice and this and that. 2018 even seems a little bit iffy, and that's before things really got crazy. Moving above that, this row, nothing I really saw that was, all too notable. Jude rookie, but that'd be about it. This SGC 6 Lionel Messi, I thought that this was, a solid price for the med grades, or I guess maybe lower grades, you'd probably say. I mean, a 6 is definitely not middle of the bell curve. Goes for $250 though. The Sky's the Limit Cristiano Ronaldo went for $264. I think I looked that up just because I was curious. Yeah, so basically this one goes for $264. I don't know if it's the same copy or not, but there's some PWCC copies on a 9 that have bounced around for $444, $324, $264. So it seems to come down, basically every year it sells, maybe $50, $60. Now, when that stops, I don't know. Maybe this was the last one, maybe not. If we go back to the beginning, you can see the earliest prices were $36 and $18. And see, these are the types of cards where I'm just a little concerned in terms of parallels. I know, it's an out of 20 Ronaldo, but it's select, and it's an insert within select, and it's a camo, which people aren't really all too fond of. And I mean, just to think it went from, 18 to $30 all the way to 4 or 500, now down to 260. Sure, it's down a bit, but it's still up quite a bit. So, I mean, net doesn't seem like a bad result. Above that, we have an out of 10 Alexander-Arnold here from the Prism Premier League set going for 276. We have this Kylian Mbappe select field level silver. I did look that one up. This goes for 276. It felt light, and it was light. I just closed out of it. Give me a moment. Got it back. So here we go. 276 on this one. Last one did 312, 360, 600, 400, 430, 625. So in the last year, probably average price 400 to 500. This one goes for 276. So that's a decent bit of a dip. In this row, PSA 9 Lewandowski sort of stuck out to me. There was actually a PSA 9 on eBay that did around 200 last night. So this comparatively is a good sale. I've talked about stickers that, we don't really have confirmed fakes of, but there's speculation, and Lewandowski falls in that camp. There were definitely some, if you go back and look at the pop growth, there are some segments in time where it just shot up drastically, which sort of implies fakes, given that was in the same era that we were seeing a lot of fakes. But that's not necessarily to say that it was fake. That's just my assumption, given what I saw. Now, everyone's interpreting it their own way and entitled to their own opinion, of course. But for me, I can understand why this has fallen, even though I think it is a good sticker, and I think in a world where fakes didn't exist, or at least a speculation of fakes didn't exist, I do think this would be a pretty big sticker. Given that's not the scenario we're in, I can see why this has dropped and, might continue to. We'll see. I also think the Benzema sticker doesn't help, because the Benzema sticker, people are much more certain of fakes, and there are a lot of them. I think next week's auction we'll see like 10 of them, which is just insane. And so when you have a Benzema sticker and a Lewandowski sticker, I mean, people probably see them in comparable lights at this point in time, and thus, even if one isn't being faked, if the other ones are, it all has a sort of, working relationship with each other that will make that happen. Above that, couple grains here, TAA. This is an auto out of 99. We also have a Jamal Musiala there, along with Piola in the middle, just looking spry. PSA 4 Ronaldo football here goes for 338. I was interested in this. Honestly, I don't feel like I see a lot of the pre-modern stickers too much anymore. There was a time where I felt like I, saw them all the time. Now, whenever Ronaldo, flies by my radar, I'm intrigued. This one goes for 336, a little bit higher than the last one. Nothing too crazy. That one sold a month ago. But if we go back, I mean, again, this isn't just a PSA 4, so don't get me wrong, but if we go back, it's hard to find some comps. The last one for PSA 4 before that was 384, so generally seems to be, relatively steady. The Deportivo, on the other hand, this one took a bit of a fall. PSA 3 goes for 336, so relatively same grade, relatively same price there on those two. Personally, I like the football much more, but the Deportivo has long been seen to be more rare, and thus, it's sort of a sliding scale of which one do you want. There's a Mo Salah Color Blast next to it, going for 350. Then we have a Bobby Charlton, a PSA 9 Nobility Auto here, going for 350. Looked at comps on that one. Last couple Raws did 330, 320, 360. This actually looks like the same exact picture on every single one, so that might not be true at all. Nonetheless, seems like a pretty high price for the PSA 9. Comparatively to this, say, gold 10 out of 10, I think PSA 10, yeah. This sold for 700 last year, and I mean, that presumably is a much more desirable card than the base in a PSA 9, so that's pretty impressive. And if we go all the way back, these are the types of comps I'd prefer to see on cards, just generally speaking. I know I've talked a lot about this, but like back in the day, this Nobility Auto for Bobby Charlton, and an out of 30 went for 70, and the out of 20 went for 130. So, to think that an orange recently went for 350, 330, 330, 210, I mean, kind of makes sense. It's within the range, 4 or 5x at most. It's much more palpable than, say, a 10, 20, 30x that you see on some other cards. And, to me, that's just a bit more reassuring. We have a PSA 8 Mbappe here going for 348. Those have been trickling down as Mbappe really hasn't done anything and hasn't changed teams and is just sort of rotting away on PSG for the moment. Next to it, we have an out of 299 PSA 10 Messi. This goes for It's 2015 select Lionel Messi out of 299 goes for 350 in a PSA 10. To me, I mean, this feels pretty high. I know back in the day, this type of stuff for Messi wasn't really desirable at all. Select was really under the radar, especially these high numbered cards. I mean, that's out of 299, and there's another picture with an out of 299. So realistically, it's an out of 600 card in a PSA 10. Sure, it's kind of cool, but first year select doesn't really have much of a narrative on it. There's really not a whole lot going on, but this is a pretty sturdy price, I would say. Obviously, Messi's the GOAT. Cristiano Ronaldo's trash. I get it, but it just feels really high to me. This one also kind of felt high. PSA 6 Campio of the blue team set rookie for Messi. I mean, you typically, we've seen some 8s, like maybe BGS 8s, but some of them start to get down towards 400, maybe 500, most of the time. So seeing a PSA 6 at 350 is a pretty hefty price. This 1983 Lampo Michael Laudrup goes for 348. This is a Calcio Flash. Don't know if I've seen this. I mean, I've definitely seen Michael Laudrup early stuff, but this one doesn't really ring any bells. This one, pop 1 of 2, none higher, goes for 350, so pretty decent price. Thomas Muller 1 of 1 goes for 360. Doesn't really feel that crazy for Thomas Muller, but I guess at the same time it is Thomas Muller, and you could easily debate why he shouldn't be that collected, but I think that's pretty fair. There's a lot of other people that get 1 of 1 prices like this that probably don't deserve it. Above that, couple modern autos. That's a post-playing career RVP. We also have this Dixie Dean from the 1932 De Buclar. I gave it a shot. I do what I can. This is in a PSA 9, goes for 360, pop 1 of 5, none higher. I did look at past sales. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, we did. So here, 360, 408, 204. So basically, last 2 sales are much higher than the first one. I'm unsure exactly why that would be. These were also all graded relatively at the same time. They're not all the same cert, but they're within like 10 or 15 of each other, which I just, kind of thought was notable. Moving above that, we have a Kylian Mbappe sticker auto. We have a Sadio Mane color blast, which doesn't really seem all that color blasty. I don't know if that's something wrong on my end, but usually expect more colors in there, but I'm not too sure. And then here you have an Eddie Hapgood rookie going for 384 in a PSA 9. I'm just going to assume that's a rookie. I've heard of the name within the vintage sphere, and I've seen him in sets. So, I know he's a relevant player, but why he would sell for a Dixie Dean to me just has to be it's a rookie, or maybe someone like me believed in PWCC's attribution of a rookie designation. I don't know, but either way, there it is. We have a 2019 Topps Chrome Erling Haaland Sapphire. This goes for 400. Again, remember the days where, every single week there was like 3 of these selling for 800. Now we have 1 selling for 400, which is intriguing. Lionel Messi out of 20 camo National Pride goes for 400. We also have this PSA 5 Pele World Cup sticker. Did take a peek at that. Last one went for 428 before that, but then 810 last year, so they definitely have come back down, but this sale was relatively close to the others. You'll see this $4,000 sale. That's a rare back, so just throw that out. That doesn't matter. Above that, nothing really in this row that I want to talk about too much. I do see this Ronaldo a fair bit. I don't think it's a PSA 10. I probably see PSA 9s run, but that goes for 420. In this row, fun 1954 Didi Balasakip, pop 1 of 1, then higher, going for 470. Then we have a Julian Alvarez stained glass PSA 10 going for 480, one of his many rookies. We also have a Gio Reyna, not the player of the moment, but might be getting a transfer, so I'm excited for that. This goes for 480. I know last time I talked about this, someone got very mad in the comments, so hopefully you're very mad again. This is seen as his first on-card release, and thus, one of the more notable ones. This back's actually in German, which to me is a little off-putting. Also, the Transcendence set isn't anything that's, all too desirable, but the Hollands in here also do, obviously crazy numbers. Just a Geo there, which is, a little minnow. Above that, we have a couple select field levels out of 10. We have an Alex Morgan or an Iniesta. Take your pick. I know I'd go for the Iniesta, of course, but that's just me, of course. This Watsy Ronaldinho goes for 516 in a PSA 9, which to me feels, really, really high. But at the same time, I mean, Ronaldinho obviously has collectors. This being an early item, not all that easy to get in a PSA 9, which surely isn't going to be easy with those borders. Draws a premium. Moving above that, we have a couple modern pieces. Erling Haaland. We also have a National Landmarks Mo Salah. This Ronaldinho 1998 PSA 2. This one for 576. My first impression of it was nice sale. I went back and looked. Not a nice sale. So last PSA 2 did 1,050. PSA 2 before that did 2,400, which I don't even buy. The one before that did 12, so I don't believe that did double the price a week later. But yeah, I mean, basically it was 1,200, 1,000. This goes for 600, so pretty nice cut on the past comps. But I think that paying $1,000, $2,000 for PSA 2 Panini sticker from nearly 2,000 was pretty crazy to begin with. As we move above that, this one really caught my eye. And this is sort of where I think, obviously people are buying the rookies. I get it. You want the rookies. You want Vinny. You want Jude. But man, this out of 10 PSA 8 Ronaldo goes for 588, which to me isn't anything crazy. Did look up these comps, and this is one where we'll see a PSA 9 later that did 1,000. A PSA 8 does 600. Prior to this, you don't really see many comps, but this PSA 9, the same one that we'll see sell for 1,000 later, had sold in 2022 January for 6.3 thousand. So that is a huge drop, which is notable because when people think of the peak for soccer cards or just cards in general, you think of 2021. This is a whole year later, and if you were there for it, this was basically the gold cycle. Everyone sort of, ran away from the things that were falling, and they ran into the things that were doing good, and this was one of the ones doing good. And now there's people running away from this, and maybe they're running towards something else. I don't know, but obviously that person went ahead and sold it and now took home 1,000 instead of the 6,000 they prior had, which to me is just absolutely crazy. And I do really think that this shows how scary parallels could be. People are paying, again, that camo Ronaldo earlier. I know condition of card matters, whatever. That camo Ronaldo, sky's the limit, was $200 to $300. Double that price, you're nearly at this optic gold Ronaldo. This is out of 10. This is first year optic. Optic to me is a much bigger brand and a much more notable release than whatever sky's the limit is an insert within Select. I mean, this is a big card. Goes for 588. Comparatively, again, there's 5 times as many of this card as this, which is just crazy to me, and people are still paying the same price. And there's, 7.5 times as many cards of this compared to this, and people are still paying more. Obviously, you're prospecting, you're buying the rookie, but to me, that Ronaldo is just an amazing card in terms of serial numbers and within the realm of serial numbers. I know I've talked about how I don't like serial numbers in general at this point in time. I just don't really connect with them quite the same, but this card, I really think at 580 isn't anything too crazy. Especially, again, we roast this Lionel Messi UK traditions, but yeah, that just hammers it home. I mean, you could get this, or you could get this. Or honestly, you could even get this, and I guess at that point, I'd still take the optic gold. This is PSA 9 from the 2003 Upper Deck. The thing is, the 2003 Upper Deck has a few Ronaldos. It has a ton of numbered Ronaldos. And you also have the 2004 SP Authentic. And there's so much stuff between 2003 and 2004 that if I could get a numbered out of 10 optic, first year optic, I wouldn't mind that. Also Portugal kit, I kind of like that. Above that, we have a PSA 8 Messi Monday Chromo going for 660. About what you'd expect. Those have been between 600-700 for a little bit now. We have a few more modern things. Sticker auto Ronaldo, Jamal Musiala rookie, also a Jude rookie there. Then moving above that, we have this Cristiano Ronaldo 9.5 that goes for 750 of a Kaboom. I did look that up. This one goes for 750. Prior was going for 1,000, 1,200 maybe at times. Of course, got a little bit higher, 2,000 near the peak. But if we go all the way back again, back in the day, 70 to 90 bucks. Now 750. So, not quite in the range I like, but definitely coming back down to earth there, which makes a little sense. Next to it, we have this Oleg Blocken. I did see a PSA 9 sell in one of the recent auctions, so I'm going to guess that was a rerun. If that's the case, this went for nearly the same price. I'm pretty sure the last one went for 800 to 900. We also have a Kevin Keegan here, PSA 9, that goes for 780. I know within the Kevin Keegan space, there's a few Kevin Keegan items that people like for different reasons. Basically, everyone has their own little unique reasoning as to why you would or wouldn't like it. This one, I think, is a magazine cutout kind of along the lines of a Swedish record, Pele, if I remember correctly. Goes for 780 though in a PSA 9, which is a pop 1 of 6, none higher. Above that, we get into some modern numbered items. 2019 Cristiano Ronaldo out of 25 auto going for 870. We have a Gareth Bale PSA 9 that goes for 900. This was actually auctioned on eBay for 1,000 and then sold over here. I'm guessing it wasn't paid for over there, and the person that sold it wanted to sell it over here, or maybe the person paid 1,000 and thought they could relist it over here. That seems kind of crazy to me, but who knows? 2019 Blue Refractor Erling Haaland goes for 930. Did take a peek at this. This goes for 930. Last one's in a PSA 8 to 1,400, 1,300, and that was in 2022. So honestly, that's not that big of a fall. Now, when you consider what Haaland's done since 2022, that's kind of bad. I mean, down 20, 30% on a card where he won a treble, did basically everything he could ask for, goal scoring record, all that jazz. Hasn't really done too much for the card as it is. Above that, PSA 3 Messi Mega Cracks is sold for basically the same exact price as the last one. This is a celebrating variation of the 2017 Chrome Refractor Messi. Looked that one up because I was interested, and yeah, basically this one goes for $1,000, last one for $1,050. One before that was a $880, so pretty good sale. And what I found interesting was I could only find, what is it, I think 3 comps in 2023 for this card in the PSA 10, which is a pretty hard card to find, you would think, at that rate. I do like the variations, though. I think they offer something a bit unique within the set. I have a couple of Christian Pulisic since he has the variation, and, I like it. I collect him within the set, but as I've talked about before, I don't really collect 2017 Chrome. If I did, I actually wouldn't mind going for the variation because I think it's pretty unique. We talked about this earlier, but the, more than $6,000 gold in 2022 is now a $1,000 gold, which, again, just absolutely crazy to think about, but also seems deserved. Again, at the time, there were even some golds that were, I think, field level golds come to mind, where they were selling for tens of thousands. And, now I don't think they'd sniff that, which is quite a ways we've come. Above that, this BGS 6 Ronaldinho goes for $1,000. Basically what you could say for almost every BGS sticker in these auctions, especially if it's graded recently, which this one is. My cert number range is always, if it's prior to 13 million, I feel pretty good. If it's after 13 million, you better know what you're doing. And this is 16 million. So what that says to me is, if that's a real sticker, probably a bargain. If it's not a real sticker, well, you just got absolutely gypped for $1,000, unless you sell it to the next guy. But that's sort of the thing, is no one ever really knows unless you absolutely know what to look for, which, in this scenario, BGS doesn't seem to. And honestly, maybe even these lower grades could be a bit more trustworthy. You would think if someone's going to fake something, why are they going to get a 6 on it? I mean, they should have just printed off the sticker, so it should be in good condition, but it's all a risk you got to think about in your own way. 2018 Kylian Mbappe Blue Treble goes for $1,050. We also have this PSA 10 Messi, which goes for $1,000. These are, in my mind, they're around $1,000 most of the time. They sometimes go up to $2,000 on eBay, but when that happens, I just assume that there's some tomfoolery amuck. Above that, we have a couple Judes. I don't really like, if you can't tell, I don't like talking about rookies and numbered rookies because they're just so niche and there's so much to compare with, right? Like within the Jude rookie, or I guess even second year space, there are just so many products that if you ask me, like, where does this rank in terms of overall Jude cards? This white Contra looks really cool. I mean, it's out of 9, second year, England kit. I have no clue. I couldn't even begin to tell you. And I understand I'm not a Jude collector, so I'm not supposed to know, but you should at least have some sort of feel. And I feel like in soccer, no one has any feel. So it's all a little nerve-wracking to me in terms of super, super ultra-modern. 2017 Topps Chrome Andres Iniesta PSA 9 goes for $1170. Again, on cards 10 or less, I don't look up comps too often, especially with the Reds. We've seen a lot of them run. We'll see another one run in this auction. I think out of all 3 of them, I think the Iniesta was the best deal. This goes for $1,100. The Bale, I mean, in my mind, I would want to pay $200 to $300 more for an Iniesta. But Bale also is, more of a flashy player, more of an exciting player. Also, at the time, was supposed to be a huge player for Madrid. In terms of how that played out, not too great, but hobby relevancy still obviously lives on. Above that, we have a 2018 Kylian Mbappe purple, doing a little bit higher than the blue. This is a blue and an 8, which is, kind of interesting, I guess, while this is a CSG 9 for purple. We have a Messi black gold out of 8 from Mosaic here that goes for $1,500. Above that, couple more Messis. We have a PSA 9 Monday Chromo for $16. This has been between $1,500 and $2,000, I'd say, which, ends up on the lower end, which I think is fair, considering we saw the 8 earlier at $600 to $700, and that's about where that is. I think, a 2 to 3x multiplier within that range makes sense. 2018 Gold Messi BGS 95 goes for $1,650. That's a pretty impressive sale. I know that sometimes people debate whether or not, all the years of Topps Chrome are collectible. Personally, that's my feeling, and always has been, is that if 1 year of something is collectible, then theoretically all the years should be, or at least all the years of a prominent player that you care about collecting. So I get why this is ran, and personally, I kind of agree with it. But, I even think that extends beyond. I think 2019 Chrome, 2019 Sapphire, I think even before that, early top stuff, I think all of it is meaningful rather than being too focused on one set. At least that's my point of view. Speaking of the one set, this is the Thomas Muller going for $1,740, and that's why I said, I'd rather have the Iniesta. Save me the almost $600 and give me an Iniesta, I guess. Of course, this is a pure color match. Obviously, red for Barca is a little bit of a color match, but you could argue blue as well. This one, I mean, there's really no debate. That goes for $17.40. Also, pop 1 of 1, none higher, so that might have something going for it as well. Pretty impressive price there. Probably the highest Thomas Muller price I've ever seen in an auction. I don't even think that that's a debate. But yeah, that's a huge price. Moving above that, we have an out of 99 Mbappe that goes for $23.70. Looked back at that, and in terms of the price, it didn't seem anything too crazy. I guess last one in 2022 did $3,100. But again, dropping, 20-30% on Mbappe during a time where he's done nothing in a year and a half. But I guess just a little over a year. Doesn't seem all too bad to me. Then we have this 1960 Jose Innocente Pele that goes for $2,400 in a PSA 1.5, pop 1 of 1, just 1 higher. Not one I've ever really seen. I tried to do a little bit of research, but wound up short. No sales comps, so that was sad. I was hoping to find a little something there, but definitely a unique looking Pele and one that you obviously don't find too often. This is a recent cert. I always like to throw that out there, just so people know that at least it's come to market lately, which means maybe there's more. Of course, with someone like Pele, you'd assume that, the eyeballs are out there and that if there are cool Peles, they come to market whenever people find them. Next, we have a Jude Bellingham out of 25 orange refractor from 2020. This in a PSA 10 does $3,000, which again is just crazy to me. I guess this is sort of the Jude that sticks in my mind. Maybe it's just this PWCC auction. I'm pretty sure we've seen 3 or 4 of them. But this seems to be the one that, I see quite a lot of. And at least stands out the most to me. I really do like the border as well. I think that plays a factor. I like the rookie card logo where it is. Topps Chrome, all that jazz is obviously going to help. $3,000 for a Jude out of 25 is pretty crazy. Again, Jude was really like the first one to have a ton of rookies, I think. That's sort of the hobby sentiment. After that, it even got crazier, which is just insane to think about. But $3,000 for that's a huge price, of course. And then we move above that, where you have 3 different GOATs. So you have Messi, Pele, and then, I guess the new GOAT, maybe not a GOAT, who knows, Erling Haaland here. We start with the Messi. This goes for $3,500. We've seen these fall as low as $3,000. So, I don't know if that means that's up or that's just sort of the, staggering in pricing that's due to happen. Nonetheless, decent to see. Next to that, we have a 1958 Tupanaba PSA 4. This is the Pele that says 1958-59. It's believed by many to be 59-60 at the minimum. When we talk about past comps for that, basically here we have 5600. Also before that, 6300, 54, 6300. So if we look at the last year, average price was a little under 6,000. This sells a little under 6,000, so seems to be pretty steady, which is good to see for a Pele that's definitely lost a little bit of a hold in terms of narrative. That might change even further if the 58-59 is taken off the label at some point. We'll see if that happens or even needs to happen at some point. But yeah, nonetheless, I think it's a really, really good looking Pele. I'm not going to lie. I think if it didn't have this whole rookie stigma around it and losing the rookie status, that it would just probably be seen as a cool Pele for what it is. But it's just sort of the way that the narrative has gone. And then finally, the Erling Haaland green refractor out of 99 from 2019 in a PSA 10 that goes for $6,900, pop 1 of 5, which is crazy to me if that's actually true, to think that an Erling Haaland out of 99 rookie in a PSA 10 is only a pop 1 of 5. I don't know if that's just really, really hard to grade. That would be my assumption, or if people just aren't grading it that big of a clip. 2019 could also be a time where people were still grading with BGS, so that also plays a role. Nonetheless, when we look back, this one goes for $6,900. Last one did $72. And then if we go before that, I guess it does get a little crazy, right? 14. I don't know why this does 14. That seems kind of crazy. Maybe Shield. I don't know, because in February, you had 8,100. Now, to be fair, Erling Haaland did have, the goal scoring record, the treble, all that jazz. So maybe that's playing a role in this big sale. But if you just take the average of the other ones, you have 8,000, 7,000, 7,000. Also in 2021, you have this, PSA 10 that apparently went for 43,000, which is just crazy. But yeah, throw that away, throw away the anomaly. Pretty well in line with most of the other sales. You're seeing about 7,000 seems to make sense to me. And And yeah, that's going to be it for this auction block. Overall, really liked this week. I mean, it was, very heavy hitting, lots of different parallels, I think it was pretty modern focused. I don't think there's much debate there, but there's nothing wrong with a modern week every now and then. Going into auction 106 next week, we'll be looking at the highest prices, scrolling down. So you have, oh my goodness, so there are some crazy. I did look at 2 of these. You can also see which ones I favorited. I'm not bidding on these top 2. I just kind of want to watch. But these are all just crazy. So you have a red and blue back Pele PSA 7, which is the hardest back to find. This is very recently graded, which just always rubs me a little bit the wrong way. It is hand cut as well, which needs to be accounted for. But this is the rarest back of the 1970 set in a super high grade. Pop 1 of 2, just 1 higher. Again, just pop 1 of 2, 1 higher. We have this Beckenbauer TTT, which there are more desirable, or there are more rare Beckenbauers within his rookie releases, but this TTT is, pretty impressive looking, at least to me. I think it's a beautiful sticker. I'm not even someone that likes green. It's actually my least favorite color, but I can definitely appreciate it within this. So a PSA 7 of this is really hard. You also have the yellow name Eusebio, which is much harder than the blue name. There is a yellow name Velita back, but this is a great Eusebio as well, so some big hitting vintage. As we get beneath that, we have a couple prisms here from some different World Cups. We have a Cristiano Ronaldo auto. PSA 5.5 Beckenbauer, you're going to have to look at the back on your own. I will look at it next week. We have 57 Grinch, 62 Pele Vecchi. Ton of fun stuff, but yeah, I guess nothing too crazy as we get down here. Puskás auto, some Kaboobs, all that fun stuff. Platini PSA 4. Should be another fun week next week, but that will be it for me in this week. Hopefully you enjoyed. Of course, if you did, make sure to leave a like. I'd appreciate it greatly. Anything you want to tell me or others, would love to hear in the comment down below. And if you want to see more videos like this as soon as we go live, make sure to subscribe. But with that said, hopefully you have a wonderful day, and peace.